Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Jason McIntyre. Welcome to Talk the Line. And I'm here with Geoff Schwartz, former NFL offensive lineman. Geoff, how excited are you for week 2?
It's rolling right along like nothing else has happened in the world. I absolutely love it. So I am excited football's back, right? We get another 4 or 5 days of football, and the world couldn't be any better.
Yeah, everything's great except for the injury reports for basically every team we're going to talk about. Let's jump right into the slate. Let's start with the best game on the board, Sunday Night Football. The Seattle Seahawks hosting the Patriots. Cam Newton versus Russell Wilson. Yeah. Geoff, I'm going to start right here. We have to look at Russell Wilson in prime time. Seattle's favored by 4 here. Russ in prime time, straight up 25-7-1 against the number 22-9-2. It's tough to bet against Russell Wilson in prime time. Do you have a lean either way at Seattle by 4?
Well, it's tough to bet against him, too, when they're going to run that offense we saw on Sunday against Atlanta, right? If they're going to run the let Russ cook offense, they're going to be hard to stop against any defense, including the Patriots. But Bill Belichick is 12-3 as a dog since 2010. Not a dog very often. I kind of like the Patriots here. Nobody's giving him any love, right? No money's being bet on the Patriots right now. It's all on Seattle. We saw them crush a pretty bad Falcons defense. I kind of like the quiet Patriots just kind of chugging along, going to Seattle. No fans, by the way. Seattle was not great at home last season. We lost 3 home games for the first time in Russell Wilson's career, and there's no fans in Seattle. So I kind of like the Patriots here, sneakily, quietly going to Seattle, getting 4 points. I
think I'm on the other side. I think Seattle's the side. I don't think Cam Newton's 15 carries last week. It just doesn't seem sustainable to me. And remember, I know Atlanta's terrible. The Miami Dolphins are pretty bad, and the Patriots beat up on them. Geoff, let me ask you. We said you mentioned let Russ cook. That was kind of a surprise how they passed so much right out of the gate. I wonder, you can't pass as well on the Patriots pass defense, number 1 in the league last year with Stephon Gilmore, Defensive Player of the Year. Does Seattle pivot back to running the football, and maybe do you look at going to the under, because that's where New England's front seven very vulnerable?
Yeah, I'm very curious to see what they do. We know that coaches, especially coaches that have coached for a long period of time, when they show us a new side of themselves, I'm always curious how long it's going to last, especially when adversity hits, right? It was great. It was great in Atlanta. You're winning all game. You're up 31-12. Just keep running the offense. But what happens if you're down 7-0 in the second quarter? Are you going back to letting Russ cook, or are you going to run the football like you've done for so many years? So I don't quite know if I trust Seattle to keep this offense going, especially against a really good Patriots defense.
All right, we're going to have a prop bet for every game. The first prop bet we're going to look at, Russell Wilson passing yards. Now, this is a bit of a surprise to me. 311 passing yards. I mean, Geoff, we just talked about the Patriots secondary. They don't give up 300-yard passing games to anybody. To me, this is a crazy – I would never take this. Your thoughts on Russ Wilson, 311 passing yards?
I'm looking at all the passing from last season against the Patriots. Only one time they allow over 276 yards, and that was to Ryan Fitzpatrick in Week 17 out of all quarterbacks. I mean, the Patriots are built to stop the pass because they want to beat the Chiefs. That's the way their team is built, to stop the Chiefs, I should say. And so I would go – I would not take this bet. 311's a lot. I know it's plus 270. The return is great here, but the Patriots do not allow a lot of passing yards.
Yeah, that line to me is they're trying to reel in people who saw Russ have a monster day and take your money. Don't fall for it, folks. All right, let's get to the next game on the board. Geoff, this game's one of my favorites this week. The Atlanta Falcons, 5-point underdogs in Dallas. Now, big note is Jerry World will have some fans. I think the number I saw was 25,000. I don't know if that equates to a home field advantage. The number here is very interesting. 53. It has gone nowhere but up. Just one-way money on the over here. I really like the over, Geoff. We saw Dallas lose last week. We saw Atlanta lose. And the potential for a lot of points here is big.
Every year when the year starts, I tell myself, I'm never going to bet the Falcons again. And I always do it, right? I bet them last week and they let me down. I'm not betting the Falcons anymore. I'm not doing it. So if I was going to go one direction, it'd be the Cowboys here, you've got to be better on offense. Now, remember, they were close to winning that game, right? They did not convert on 4th and 3. The ticky-tack push-off call on Gallup. So I think their offense is better than we think. And I think Atlanta's defense is really that bad. So I agree with you. I think points are probably the way to go here as it continues to move upward. But I'm not betting the Falcons anymore. It's not happening.
All right, let me consider this. So the Cowboys lose Leighton Vander Esch to the broken collarbone. collarbone.
Yes.
Sean Lee now out 8 weeks. So their linebacking core is decimated. You look at the Falcons, they had 3 receivers go over 100 yards. Yes, a lot of it was in garbage time. And Jared Goff last week against the Cowboys kind of got what he wanted. I think the Falcons can move the ball. I don't trust that Dallas defense at all. Couldn't get any pressure really on Goff. I don't know. This to me feels like I take the dog here. I'm leaning strongly to the Falcons.
I know what you mean, but I'm telling you, man, Atlanta has broken my heart too many times. I get what you're saying about them. Look, they're going to score points. I think that's a foregone conclusion. It's just a matter of, can they stop the Cowboys? Under Dan Quinn, they have not started fast in Atlanta outside of one season. They started, remember, 1-7 last season. Their defense has never been good. He's a defensive coach. You got to imagine at some point the defense plays well, and they still haven't done it, right? Seattle went up and down the field on them.
Yeah, last year, I believe the Falcons were 28th in first half scoring. They just could not start strong ever. Let's get our first prop bet for the Falcons-Cowboys game. We are looking at Julio Jones to score a touchdown. I thought that'd say like 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Go ahead and lock this one up. Like, you look at the Cowboys secondary, Geoff. They're starting a rookie, the kid from Alabama on one side. Geoff, I mean, this is, put next month's rent check on Julio Jones to score, right?
And you get plus 110. Of course you make this bet, right? The best wide receiver on the field and a team we just talked about is going to score a lot of points. Of course I make this bet. Yes. Plus 110.
That feels mispriced. We'll see. Fox Bet, you might want to get on that one. Right, Geoff, let's move to the next game here on the board. The Los Angeles Rams, Philadelphia Eagles. This is my favorite bet of the week. Ooh. It's also the craziest line movement. Geoff, I don't know if you saw this. Last week in this spot, the Eagles on the look-ahead line were favored by 3 or 3.5. But yesterday, this line was Rams were favored. Now it's on Pick'em. Geoff, look at the line movement here. This is crazy. Absolute madness. Geoff, this is your narrative game of the week, right? The Eagles. Go ahead, Geoff.
No, go ahead. Finish.
Well, I was going to say the Eagles take the big lead on Washington, 17-0, and then get blown out. Everybody was on the Eagles there, unless you listen to me. I love the Washington Football Club. And then you look at the other side. The Rams, big win over the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football, and a lot of people had the Cowboys here. So I think the narratives merge, and I am all in on the Eagles here, Geoff.
So I picked Washington to win last week, by the way. So high five to you.
Well done.
You. That was good right there. I like that. Look, teams that start 0-2 in the NFL since 1990 only make the playoffs 12% of the time. Now, we know this year there's one extra playoff team, so the numbers might be a little bit skewed, but the Eagles know they have to win this game, right? Lane Johnson looks good so far as playing this week, and we know the offensive line was a big problem last week. But, yeah, they're up 17-0. They were cruising in that game, and Carson Wentz kept making mistakes. I was personally not very high on the Rams. If you look at kind of the offensive line especially, and Goff really a little bit, and they showed they played pretty well. I think this is, to your point, a complete overreaction. I got the Eagles even money here in a game they have to win, right? And we know that throughout the years with Peterson, they've won those must-win games, right? Every time we count them out, the Eagles aren't very good. They win a lot of games. So I'm with you here. I would take the Eagles at home.
I don't know if you guys are big trend guys, but the Eagles have won 6 straight over the Rams, 6-0 against the spread. 2 of those came against McVay. And last week, again, Geoff, we talked about the overreaction. People just see the score. Oh, they lost to Washington. Oh, that's embarrassing. The Eagles defense graded out as number 1 in the NFL last week by Pro Football Focus. Washington scored because, as you said, Wentz made mistakes, short fields. I love the Eagles here. Geoff, thoughts on the prop bet? Let's get it from Fox Bet, the prop bet for Eagles, Rams. Zach Ertz, 76 or more receiving yards, plus 205. Now, before you answer, Geoff, Dallas Goedert was a big-time target last week for Wentz. They looked to him early and often, eating into Ertz, and I only know this because I have Ertz on my fantasy team. But any thoughts on Ertz, 76 or more yards?
I think when you have 2 tight ends like you do, it's kind of hard to take one to get so many yards, right? Especially when they're going to probably do a lot of 12 personnel. I would lean just away from this. But even though the Rams' weakness on defense is linebacker, and you have to imagine that's where Wentz is going to want to go. I got to see more from Wentz, man. There's some things he does still, Jason, that are really alarming. He makes those bonehead mistakes. You're like, dude, man, like you've been in the NFL long enough. Throw the ball away. You don't have to make every single play. So I hope we see more from him this week. But I would lean off this bet.
He does get Lane Johnson back, and he said he's going to play. And Miles Sanders, the running back, another guy on my fantasy team, who had a monster year last year, he's going to be big. And as you noted, the Rams' top 2 linebackers are gone. They lost him in free agency. Cowboys, for whatever reason, didn't exploit that last week. Part of it was because Blake Jarwin got injured. But I think everything shapes up for Eagles here. All right, on to the next game. Another one of my favorite plays, Geoff. The Carolina Panthers, tough loss at home last week. They visit Tampa Bay. Tom Brady and the Bucks coming off the loss. Sorry for the bad pun there. Bucks favored by 8.5. Total at 47.5. Geoff, I'll let you go first before I unload on this game.
I think the over is a play here. I think that we saw the Panthers score a lot of points last week. But I think Tampa Bay is going to score a ton of points this week. I know they have a bunch of guys hurt, but I feel like last week we saw what was going to happen, which I thought all along was they're going to start slow against New Orleans. They faced a great defense on the road after a short training camp with no offseason. I figured last week was going to be issues. I expect Tampa Bay to come back very fast this week. I think they score a lot of points, show everyone everything's okay. Plus, the Panthers aren't very good. They're one of the teams I thought this year they would win 4 or 5 games. Yes, they played very well against a bad Raiders team, in my opinion. The one question is, Jason, Teddy Bridgewater is a covering machine, right? Yes. 27-8 all-time as a starter covering the NFL. So it's hard for me to pick the line here. That's why I like the total, I think, can go over.
Interesting. Okay, so first of all, Fox Bet, thank you for that line movement chart. 9 is considered a dead number, right, Geoff? We know 7's important, 10 is as well. I wonder why there was some buyback at 9 on Carolina. I don't get it. Here's a stat that I love. And again, I'm not a huge trend guy, Geoff, but over the last 6 seasons, teams that lose by double digits in week 1 are 25-15-1. That's 62% the following week. That lines up perfectly for Tampa. And again, I know Chris Godwin is in the concussion protocol. That's obviously cause for concern. But Geoff, if you look at this Carolina secondary, their number 1 cornerback left the game last week injured. Their number 2 cornerback was a rookie. They're pulling guys up from the practice squad and off the street. I'm telling you, Tom Brady has seen what everybody said, Geoff. You know he is a voracious social media guy. He knows we're all bashing him. You don't think he takes advantage and puts it on Carolina here in his first home game in Tampa?
I'm with you. That's why I think they score a ton of points in this game. I think they prove that last week was a fluke. We saw they were not on the same page. I'll tell you what, he might play hard just to shut his coach up. His coach coming out there blaming him and figuring out it's not. Oh wait, it's more Mike Evans' fault. So I think they score just a lot of points, so they don't have this noise on them going forward. They have a pretty easy schedule, by the way. Does Tampa? I thought they would lose week 1 and kind of get their bearings together. Packers week 6 is the next playoff team they face. So I'm curious to see how this offense goes.
I think, listen, this, Geoff, I don't know if you agree, but for me, this is a bye week on Tampa Bay futures. I think long term, this is a buy and hold, right? Everybody's off them because they saw the struggles against the Saints. The Saints are a great team. By the way, they held Drew Brees under 200 yards. I don't know what Teddy Bridgewater is going to be able to do. All right, let's see the prop bet for Tom Brady. Oh, of course it's Tom Brady. Ooh, this is tasty. This lines right up with what we were talking about, Geoff. 4+ touchdowns for Brady. Now, we know he had the rushing score, the 2 interceptions. 4 is a big number, but I'm going to put some pizza money on this one, Geoff.
I think that if we expect them to score a lot of points, I think we expect them to score a lot of points via the air, right? I mean, that's what we expect. And you talked about all the issues with Carolina's secondary. I would lean toward over here. I think that just for fun, right? I mean, you're rooting for points, and I think a lot of points are going to be scored here.
So I'm sure people are watching this and saying, oh, these chalky guys, they like the Bucks and the over. All right, let's get to the next game. Maybe we'll like an underdog. All right, next up here. Ooh, fun rematch from last year. Baltimore, which blew out Cleveland, 7-point favorites against the Texans. Now, Geoff, Texans coming in off extra rest, whatever that's worth. This is a coaching mismatch. John Harbaugh against Bill O'Brien. It's tough to bet against the machine that is Lamar Jackson. Any thoughts here on Texans hosting the Ravens?
If you thought we were chalky up until now, just wait till I make my pick here. Baltimore, 10-1 against the spread on the road since 2018, the middle of 2018. They tear apart terrible defenses, right? They're on a mission right now. You watch that game against Cleveland. Lamar Jackson looked fabulous. He missed one throw and Mark Andrews bailed him out. Also, did you watch the Texans offense? They look completely lost. Here we go. Ready? Deshaun Watson was just 6-14 against pressure against the Chiefs. Guess what? The Ravens blitz a ton. Number 1 so far after 1 week. We saw them 2nd and 29 against the Browns. Guess what? bring more pressure, right? They're going to pressure Deshaun Watson this entire game. I think the Ravens are out, Jason, to show everyone that they are the Super Bowl favorite right now, even though I think we'd agree that the Chiefs are up in that category as well. I think they're going to roll Houston. I don't trust Houston. I don't trust that offense. I definitely don't trust that defense. Baltimore, big.
Yeah, I think this will be a big teaser play, right? I mean, if you can tease the Ravens from 7 down to 1 or 2, feels like a lock. Now, as an offensive lineman, I got to mention Ronnie Stanley, the great lineman for the Ravens. He is nursing an injury. Again, I don't know how much of a factor that will be, but J.J. Watt, I mean, he's been known to take over a game, even in his advanced age. But yeah, everything here, I mean, I cannot bet against the Baltimore Ravens in this spot. I did take the Texans last year in this spot, and I tore up the ticket at halftime. It was bloodbath. All right, let's see the prop bet for Ravens-Texans. Oh, interesting. J.K. Dobbins, the rookie. I believe he had 2 touchdowns last week, and I know this because I'm a fantasy guy, and he vultured a couple from Ingram. 61 rushing yards, plus 195. Any thoughts on Dobbins against a Texas run defense that gave up 138 to a rookie on the Chiefs last week?
Well, the reasons why they did that were they were just terribly afraid of Pat Mahomes, right? And I feel like in this game, they're going to be more cued to the run, obviously, as we know that that's what the Ravens set their offense up, be the run. And by the way, I'm not so concerned about Stanley missing time because the offense lends itself very well to offensive alignment. It's a fun offense to be in if you're an offensive lineman, and you're able to kind of hide a guy hurt or a bad player within the offense, just the way you run the ball so much in play action pass. But back to Dublin, he only had 22 yards last week. I don't know how you could make this bet considering all the other guys they have on their roster. Plus, their quarterback often leads them in rushing. So I would say lay off this. Interesting.
Yeah, I guess I tend to agree with you, but I wouldn't be shocked if they rang up 250 on the ground and they was split. Ingram got 75 for Dobbins. That's an interesting one. All right, on to the next game. Kansas City Chiefs. Geoff, your brother plays for the Chiefs.
He does, yes.
Pretty good in the opener. They won the Super Bowl, and they are big 9-point favorites against the LA Chargers. Folks, I mean, Geoff, where do you want to start? The coaching mismatch, the quarterback mismatch? I don't know that I can make a case for the Chargers, and I do like the Chargers this year, but the floor is yours. Any thoughts on, again, one-way movement here, 8.5, it's 9. Wouldn't shock me to see a 10. There'll be buyback at 10 on the Chargers, but which side do you lean here?
How do you bet against the Chiefs, right? They've covered their last 10 games, including all the playoffs, right? And week 1, which they easily covered, by the way. Andy Reid has owned the entire division, but specifically the Bolts. He's 6-1 against the spread in the last 7 against the Chargers. The Chargers, we saw them struggle in Cincinnati. They should have lost that game in Cincinnati, right? Now they play a team with a MVP quarterback, Super Bowl MVP, just turned 25 today. Like, they're going to get the doors blown off them. I'm not betting on the Chargers here. Give me the Chiefs, and the Chiefs defense is good. They're very good. The Chiefs are healthy. The Chargers are not. This is going to be somewhere in the range of like a 38 to 17 game. The Chiefs dominate this game.
Yeah, this feels like very lopsided. A couple notes to piggyback on what you said. Andy Reid 5-1 against Anthony Lynn in the last 6 meetings. Total domination. 10-4 is Reid against the spread against the Chargers. Listen, I know you're supposed to bet underdogs and look to them, but you get in front of the Chiefs train. That's your hard-earned after-tax dollars going right down the tubes.
And I want to give a shout out real quick. Like, I know everyone says the Chargers, defensive line, but the Chiefs have an outstanding offensive line. Like the neutralizer is a guy that looks like me, number 71. Like they don't have to worry about Bosa. Like, that's not their problem. That's why they're going to score a ton of points. And Andy Reid is great when he gets rest. When he gets a little extra days to prepare, fabulous.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, is there a prop bet for Chiefs Chargers? And of course there is. Patrick Mahomes, 4 or more passing touchdowns. A lot of big numbers here. We saw Tom Brady with 4. Now we see Mahomes with 4 plus 210. Geoff, any thoughts? You think Mahomes looks to put it on? And remember, his numbers were a little down against the Texans. They were taking away the big play in the opener. Any thoughts here?
I'm looking at the Mahomes' career. I mean, last year he only threw 1 game where he even hit 4 touchdowns. He threw a lot more, obviously, his rookie season, but it's his second year in the NFL when he played all year. I just think with the run game now being emphasized more, I know that the plus 210 is very juicy, obviously, right? I mean, 2-to-1 return on taking the MVP to throw all the touch. I just think with their efforts of the run game, you just can't do this. I don't think that 4+ That's a lot, man. I can't see this.
Yeah, it looks like teams are going to, as you said earlier, take away the big play. They don't want to get beat deep by Hill and Hardman and Watkins. So they'll just give all the underneath stuff. I would not take that bet. All right, on to the next game. What do we got here, Geoff? This is a good card. I don't love this game, though. Gardner Minshew and Jacksonville, thrilling season opening win. They visit Tennessee. Titans favor by 8 here.
Yeah.
And total, kind of a low total, 42.5. Looks like this number has come down. A lot of money backing Gardner. Or, Geoff, I don't know. Maybe this is a fade off an unimpressive Titans season opening victory on Monday night against the Broncos. Any thoughts here? Jags +8 or Titans favor by 8?
Look, Jacksonville has not covered their last 5 in Tennessee. They just don't play well there. But I just wouldn't touch this game, man. This line movement is worrisome. Remember, Jacksonville was a team everyone thought was going to win 2 or 3 games just 6 days ago, right? And now all of a sudden we're buying 3 more points on them throughout the week. I'd stay away. I know Tennessee looked a little shaky the other night, but if they make some kicks, that really is not a close game. I have no feel for this game, Jason. I don't know if you have a feel for this game. This is a game where it's a corner TV, and I'm not betting on it.
All right, so I looked at the injury report, and it looks like Corey Davis and A.J. Brown both are dinged up. Obviously, you're going to want to check that out before making any wager. But this feels like a Derrick Henry game. My only problem, Geoff, is that Derrick Henry had 31 carries on Monday Night Football. Yeah. Are they going to really just run him into the ground 6 days later? I know Jacksonville put up no resistance against the Colts. Indianapolis did not punt in week 1. How did the Colts lose that? Well, they kept screwing up in the red zone. 2 for 5, couple of interceptions by Rivers. But if you look at the box score, you will ask yourself, how did the Jags win the opener? I don't recommend betting big favorites a lot, although I took a couple here. I'm definitely staying away from this game. Divisional matchup as well. I would punt on this one. I'm with you, Geoff.
Yeah, I think that all the points you made are the reason why you have to just not bet this game. And look, I think Tennessee's going to run Henry into the ground. They paid him for a reason. They paid him to carry the ball, and he's going to get his money's worth. All
right, is there a prop bet? I'm going to go ahead and guess it's about Derek. No, it's Ryan Tannehill. Ooh, look at this. Look at what they're doing here, Geoff. 36 or more rushing yards from Ryan Tannehill, +305. Now, I don't have his number of rushing yards against Denver in front of me. I don't. What are we doing here? Ryan Tannehill, 36 rushing yards. They gave him a big contract too. This is a stay away from me.
I mean, was it +3? I'm looking at +305. I don't know. Why? I mean, why not? It's 3.
Really? Okay, that's all you.
I mean, it's so high. It's +3 to 1 on a random prop. Last I'm looking at it right now. If he rushed the ball all last season for anything, he had 3 games last year: 38 yards, 37 yards, 40 yards, including 40 yards against Jacksonville the first time. So I don't know.
On a big number, low total. Those games always scare me, even touching, because something's up, right? Total again, low on this one. So all right, let's get on to the next game. Now this is actually a good game. No disrespect to those two teams. Pittsburgh, 7-point favorites. Again, a low total, 41.5 against the Denver Broncos. Denver on a short week. Another game you're going to want to check the injury report. Now, if you see some money coming in on Denver, as you can see here, 6.5, it's up to 7. 7, a key number in the NFL. Geoff, a lot of injuries, okay? Not Emmanuel Sanders, I'm sorry. Their running back, Phillip Lindsay, turf toe, looks like he's going to be out. We know Von Miller is out. I know this is a big number, and Pittsburgh didn't overwhelm on Monday night. Yeah. But, Geoff, for me, this is Pittsburgh or nothing.
I love Pittsburgh. It's one of my favorite plays of the week. I know it's another chalky play, but hear me out on this one. By the way, Denver also has A.J. Bouye injured right now, so they're down another corner. We saw the second half of that Steelers-Giants team. The Steelers offense kind of start to click, right? Just took Ben a little bit of time to get into things right now. But here's the reason why I like Pittsburgh. It's their defense. The defense is fabulous, continues to be great. And they play a young quarterback in Drew Lock, who's 4-2 as a starter, right? But his team's only averaged 20 points in those 6 games. Here's why I think he has a rough game. Blitz versus no blitz, okay? He is awful against the blitz. And the Steelers blitzed 38% of the time last year, 4th in the NFL, and they hammer the Giants, right? Most in pressures in week 1. Against the blitz, Drew Lock is 48% completion percentage, passer rating of 78. No blitz whatsoever. Only 72% completion. So you can see that they're going to blitz him the entire game, right? That's a big discrepancy between blitz and no blitz. I think Drew Lock has a rough game here. They don't score more than 13, 14 points, and Pittsburgh wins like 28-14.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, I'm with you. A couple notes. Saquon Barkley against this Pittsburgh run defense, 15 carries, -6 yards. That's good luck, Melvin Gordon. And the other thing is that Broncos offense did not look very sharp to me. They had one receiver over 30 yards. And again, they're not facing a great defense in Tennessee. Pittsburgh, as you said, great defense. This is Pittsburgh or pass for me, Jeff. Let's look at the prop bet for Steelers Broncos. It's Big Ben, 3 or more passing touchdowns. You gave a great note. AJ Bouye, their number 1 corner, is out. Yeah. Big Ben got like a slow start against the Giants, but this could be a spot where, again, no Von Miller from the pass rush. Bradley Chubb, he played, but he wasn't very effective. Any thoughts on Big Ben here?
I'd probably lean toward taking this. I mean, the minimum you get 3, right? And you push, and then 4 is obviously a win here. And you look at what we talked about in the second half of that game yesterday on Monday night, they just started to get a little bit better in offense, right? We know Claypool had a big game, Washington, Juju. You mentioned the injuries. There's no pass rush. I'm not so worried about the Steelers' right tackle, Zach Banner, being out for the year against the Broncos. Maybe we'll worry about that in a different game. I like this bet. I think this is something that I would look forward to on Sunday.
Okay. All right. Let's get on to Thursday night football. On paper, it's not a sexy matchup, but I really like this game. Cincinnati Bengals and their rookie quarterback on a short week visit the the Browns. And Cleveland's favored by 6. Jeff, any thought? Let me give you the total, 43.5. Any thoughts here on Browns Bengals?
I'd probably take the Browns here. And I'll explain a little bit with my prop coming up in a little bit. The Bengals are just kind of beat up, and the Browns have to win this game. Like, if they don't win this game, they're 0-2, and people are already writing off Baker Mayfield. He had a bad game week 1. He just did not look in the flow of the offense, which makes sense, right? First week, new offense, played the Ravens, a really tough team. But they have got to get things going, and I think the Bengals defense provides them opportunity to do so. And on a short week, they are going to run the football, and I think that will help Baker Mayfield out. I just don't – Burrow played well. He played much better than I thought, but the Browns can rush the passer, and the Bengals offensive line is not good at all. And so I think they just harassed Burrow the entire game, who's under pressure all of week 1. And the Browns – it's going to be not the best played game, but I just take the Browns here.
Not the best play. Way to put it politically correct, Jeff. It's going to be ugly. We know that. Just a quick note on the rookie quarterback on the short week. The numbers say in weeks 1 through 8, last 15 years, a rookie quarterback on Thursday night, they are 1-6 straight up. 1 touchdown pass, 10 interceptions. Now, obviously, there's been some bad rookie quarterbacks. My guy, Sam Darnold, one of them, on Thursday nights. But everything's shaping up, as you said, the Cleveland pass rush. Yeah. I just think the Browns win this handily. A note on the Bengals defense. The 2 defensive tackles that they have are both out, Atkins and Daniels. And you know this is going to be a Nick Chubb game. I like whatever props you can get on Nick Chubb. Maybe we'll see a prop on him in a minute. But you made a good point about Baker Mayfield has to win this. Stefanski, their new head coach, has a relationship with Case Keenum dating back to Minnesota. If Baker's awful, I mean, is it too early to even think about Case Keenum, Jeff?
It's probably a little bit too early, but we know that head coaches and general managers want their own quarterback. They have no emotional tie to Baker Mayfield. There's nothing there for them to lean back on. They didn't draft him. There's no connection there whatsoever. You're right. He knows Keenum. Keenum played well in Minnesota a couple of years ago when Stefanski was the OC. So there is pressure on Baker Mayfield to play very well tonight.
I'm going with Browns heavily. Let's see the prop bet, Jeff, for Browns Bengals tonight. And it's Nick Chubb. Whoa, Nelly. 75 or more rushing yards. Now there's some juice here, -128. So you got to lay $128 to win 100. But I mean, listen, I don't want to go overboard and lead anybody down a path, but I think Chubb can hit this number in the first half. Okay. We saw Baker throw an interception on the first series last week. Ravens come down and score, and you're in a 7-0 hole. Then you do the fake punt nonsense, and it's 10-0. So I think Stefanski knows this team can be run on. Nick Chubb, 75 or more rushing yards. I'm hammering the heck out of it.
You mentioned it earlier, and when I saw that both Geno Atkins and Mike Daniels, both the starting tackles for the Bengals, were out this week, I rushed to make this bet. This is a home run bet. Look, on a short week, and you mentioned the interceptions and things like that, they're going to pound the ball at the Bengals, right? They're going to pound the ball, take the pressure away from Baker Mayfield, and let the offensive line, which has been retooled. I know they have a rookie left tackle, and they paid money for Conklin. They're good in the inside. Take all the pressure away from Baker Mayfield against an injured Bengals front on a short week. It makes all the sense to make this bet. I love this prop. It's my favorite bet of this game. I don't terribly like the Browns to cover, but this one right here, I know that last week they split carries with Kareem Hunt. I get that. Chubb is still the starter, and when he starts fast, they will give him the rock the entire game.
All right, so Geoff, we have a Fox Bet Thursday Night Football offer. Double your money if Baker Mayfield or Joe Burrow throws an interception tonight. I mean, geez, Fox Bet just giving away money, right?
Yes.
I mean, Baker Mayfield, was he second in the league in picks last year? Burrow had we could spend 10 minutes on his shovel pass interception against the Chargers. But all right, Geoff, let's get to a fan question here. Our fan question from Ian. I don't know. We'll go with Ian. Geoff, does your brother playing in the league impact your betting calls?
Yeah, I was going to wear my brother's jersey I brought out here just for my Chiefs pick, just to let everyone know that my brother plays. No, it doesn't affect it whatsoever. Mitch and I do not talk about scheme. I mean, he's in year 9. I'm not like, hey man, what are you doing with Tyreek this week, buddy? Like, we don't talk like that anyway. So like, there's no, in fact, I actually tend to not bet them just for public perception. I mean, I know I took the Chiefs this week. I think you just have to, but I try to avoid taking the Chiefs as much as possible. And look, I'll still bet against them. I famously bet against them in the 2018 AFC Championship game. I took New England +3. My brother and I will still love each other whether I bet on his team or not. So I think that there's nothing going on here. It does not affect me whatsoever.
Okay. All right. Is there no more questions? I think that's it. Geoff, hey, this was great stuff. A lot of fun. Hopefully we lined the pockets of everybody with a lot of winners. Obviously, listen, hit us up on social media if you loved it. And if you didn't like it, hey, keep it to yourself. All right. I will see you guys on Monday. Colin Cowherd, Carissa Thompson. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy week 2.